So I just saw Love, Simon, which is a movie about a gay senior in high school named Simon, but nobody knows he's gay. And if you don't know me, my name is Simon, and I'm gay. So as you can see, I was pretty interested in this movie as soon as I heard about it. Aside from the parallels to my own life, which weirdly there were like a lot of them in this movie, and that was kind of fun for me, but no one else is gonna have that. This movie wasn't good, and I feel like I have to talk about it because it's got like a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, and everybody seems to like this movie, and I really don't know why, because it's really not that great of a movie. It's fine, but it's just cute. Like, if I had to say something nice about it, I would say that it was cute. But that's about the extent of it. And like, for me, that's not enough, you know? There's a lot of aspects to movie making, and this movie didn't do that great of a job with most of those aspects. But for most people, just the fact that it's cute is gonna be enough for them. And that makes me really sad, and it makes me angry that we don't live in a society that demands more from their movies. So right now, I am headed to the bank, and then I'm gonna hang out with a friend, and then I'm gonna go pick up a new cell phone. So in the meantime, while I'm doing all this stuff, I'm gonna talk about why Love, Simon isn't a good movie. And I'll start by saying the things that I liked about the movie, because it's not like it's the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not even like the worst movie I've ever seen this year, you know? I would say Cloverfield Paradox takes the cake on that one. But it's just below average. Like, everything about it is just below average. I wish it were better, you know? But it's not. And that isn't something that I can just look over just because of like what the story's about. Oh, by the way, spoiler warning for this like whole video, because I'm gonna be talking pretty in depth about the shitty details of this movie. So if I had to start with the good things about this movie, I would say that it was cute, you know? But like, not in a way that's like charming, just in a way that's like, I don't know, this is just a cute movie, you know? Just one of those like teen drama, teen romantic comedy, kind of like trendy kind of movies, and that's gonna be enough for a lot of people. Like, they're not gonna care about how bad the writing is or how bad the acting is. They're just gonna be like, oh, that was a really cute movie. I really liked that movie. You know, it had a good message, you know? I really liked that movie. But that's not enough to like a movie. Like, that's just, you need more. It needs to be, you need more. And then there was also one scene where I thought I thought there was one scene where he delivered a good performance.
I'm supposed to be the one that decides when and where and who knows. That's supposed to be my thing.
So yeah, that scene, which was in the trailer, which is where I got that clip, that scene was probably the only like good scene in the movie. So now I'm gonna talk about all the bad things. This is like a genre of film that is so boring, and it's just so uninspired, and it's like this sort of like trendy teenagers in high school who like, you know, hate everything, but they're also like dealing with like really serious things. And it's just sort of like 13 Reasons Why style, like, we're hip, we're young. None of it's real, and none of it is like done well. And so I mentioned 13 Reasons Why because there's a couple of like actors from that short series on Netflix that are in this movie. And so like, I was like, did the same like production company make this movie? Because this feels a lot like 13 Reasons Why. But like, they're surprisingly like not even like the casting director or like the producers or anybody, not anybody who worked on Love, Simon worked on 13 Reasons Why. So that was surprising me, just because like there were two actors from 13 Reasons Why that were in this movie. And the movie's just sort of that same sort of like genre of like whateverness. So I'm gonna give you 13 reasons why Love, Simon isn't a good movie. So starting with reason number 1, we have the opening montage. So as soon as this movie started, I knew to myself, oh my god, this isn't gonna be a good movie. So what I'm talking about is this like opening montage that they did right as the movie started, and it was like exposition the montage. That's basically what it was. It opened up and he's like, hi, I'm Simon. My life is just like yours, except I've got one huge secret. Nobody knows that I'm gay. He's like describing his life, and he's like, this is my family. This is what their characters are. Isn't that so quirky and fun? These are my friends. We all like to have a good time and drink iced coffee. We're just so quirky and fun. My life is, pretty great, except oh my god, I'm gay, ah! And then the movie starts. And then as soon as the movie actually starts, we get everything that they just explained to us. Like, he wakes up, he goes downstairs, and his sister is making a quirky breakfast. And that basically explains her character that he explained, like, not even a minute before. And then he gets into his car, and he drives and picks up his friends, and they go get iced coffee, and that basically explains everything that he explained, like, just a minute before. And it's like, really? You're gonna have this opening montage, which you don't need, which clearly, like, was an afterthought, a decision that they made in the editing room, because the way that it's done, it's just so redundant, and it makes me feel like the people who made this movie think that I'm an idiot, and I can't get these things from just watching the movie that they made. So they had to put in this opening montage that explains everything, because they think the audience is too stupid to just, like, figure it out. Like, just let me figure it out, dude. Let me decide how good your characters are based on how you wrote them, not based on how you explain them to me. I don't want the movie to explain their characters to me. I want the movie to show me who their characters are. Point number 2 is Simon. So Simon is this rich, white, popular, attractive high school senior who hates his life because he's gay. Being a gay man named Simon, who went through pretty much the exact same experience in high school, I know that, like, you know, you can have problems and things can seem normal and things can seem all right, but you still, like, are having a really hard time just based on, like, your internal struggle and just sort of, like, how you're afraid of everything. So I get that, but that's not how they wrote the character. The character is this, like, shallow guy who doesn't really act like he's scared of being gay until it sort of, like, kind of all falls apart around him. Like, he just sort of acts like a normal guy the rest of the time, and not like there's any depth to his performance. And there's nothing subtle about how he's sort of just, like, hiding things. It's pretty like, she's not my type, but I like all women. I'm into women, guys. Come on, just give me some subtleties. Give me some actual character. Give me something real. But no, they write this guy who ends up talking to this online person who comes out on the internet, or it's an anonymous. They make a post, and so he starts talking to the guy, and then throughout the movie he's just imagining who this guy could be, and he goes through, like, different guys at his school. He's like, ooh, is it this guy? Ooh, I think I'm falling in love with this guy because I think it's this guy. And then as soon as he figures out that it's not that guy, he just sort of forgets about all, like, the fucking feelings that he was having. So it's just like, how shallow do you have to be to where you could be super into this one guy because you think it's the guy you're talking to, and then as soon as you figure out that it's not that guy, you're just like, well, fuck them. And so you just move on to the next guy. It's just like, can you actually, like, have a type or, like, have feelings for, like, one person in this movie, and then either be devastated when it's not them or be happy that it is them, instead of just, like, bouncing around from guy to guy and just see, if it's blue, then I'm in love, but if it's not blue, then I don't care who they are. Can that not be who this character is? I don't know how I'm supposed to relate to this character. He's not relatable at all. I don't know how I'm supposed to care about whether or not he succeeds or whether or not his life goes well, because so far it's been going well. I don't know why you think that I would care whether or not his situation improves, because it seems pretty good already. So Simon is this character that isn't relatable and isn't a good person, except we're expected the entire movie to care about him just because he's afraid of being gay. And that's not enough of a reason. That's enough of a reason to sympathize with him, but not enough of a reason to empathize with him. That's what makes a good character, is characters you can empathize with and characters you can imagine yourself in their situation and feeling the same things that they're feeling. But I can't do that with this character because they're not feeling anything, or they're not giving me anything to feel. They're just telling me, you should like this guy because he's the main character, and you should feel bad for him because he's afraid of being gay. It's like, that's not enough. That's not how you write good characters. So moving on to number 3, we have the dialogue. So, the dialogue in this movie is the fakest shit I've ever heard. They literally, like, talk to each other like nobody in the history of the world has ever talked to each other. There's one part in like the movie where like she sends like FaceTime all the time for some reason. Nobody, FaceTimes. Everybody just texts. They're FaceTiming because, whatever. It's a movie. You gotta make it visual. Even though it's not realistic. And she sends him a FaceTime and she's just like, did you see the new post? Did you see the new post? What are you talking about? Nobody FaceTimes somebody to ask if they saw the new post in such a vague way. Like, what new post? What website? Are we talking about Twitter? Are we talking about Facebook? Are we talking about any of these characters? No, the way that these characters talk to each other is that it's like they have to talk to each other like they're dumbing everything down so that an audience can follow along. And guess what? That's what the writer's trying to do, because the writer doesn't think you're smart enough to understand how fucking people conversate with one another. And so the dialogue in this movie is just incredibly trash, and it's trash from the beginning, and it's trash all the way through. That's what I have to say about that. So moving on to number 4, we're gonna talk about the website. This movie, classic case of a bad movie. Most bad movies that are about like teenagers do this. They create a fake website instead of using a real website, and then that's where all the drama online happens. So like in Cyberbully, they had Clicksters, and in this movie, they have Creek Secrets. And it's this like blog, maybe it's on Tumblr, but they never really specify that, but it's this like blog where everybody in their high school posts their secrets to, or something like that. And the fact that this website exists, and everybody knows about it, and everybody uses it, is far-fetched enough. But the fact that the teachers know about it, use it, care about it, and not shut it down? What the fuck? This is like bullying 101. You want to fight cyberbullying? How about you shut down a website called Creek Secrets for your Creek High School bullshit? I cannot believe the teachers in this movie. They let this website run rampant, and it just makes me so angry, because this is like, why is this website not shut down? Why can't you be better people? Like, at all? Why can't you at least be realistic people? How about we have some realism with our movies? How about that? So the fake website has problems because it shouldn't exist in the universe of the movie. It doesn't make sense. And also, it's a fake website that the creators probably had to come up because they didn't get the rights to Twitter, or they didn't get the rights to Facebook, or whatever, Instagram. So they decided, we're just gonna make our own website, and we're just gonna assume that people will take this seriously. How am I supposed to take this fucking movie seriously when you do shit like create fake websites? So moving on, the next thing I wanna talk about are the characters. And these are the characters, like the secondary characters, and the friends, and the parents, and the sister. These aren't good characters. And I don't know why anybody would care about anything that these characters say or do, because they're just terrible people, and they're written so poorly. I can at least appreciate that they tried to give some character to their side characters. The sister likes to cook, that's something, except they don't really do anything with that. And then the one time the sister has to act, she just like, oh boy, that was bad. Please don't ever do that again. And at least she wasn't in the movie a lot, but then like, why give her this like quirk if she's not gonna matter? And then you have the parents. Hey. So I just hung out with my friend for a while, and he didn't want to give his thoughts on the movie, even though he also saw it and also didn't like it. So I'm gonna finish up a review. I think I was talking about the parents last I left off. And the parents, they suck. They both have this like monologue that they give to their son about how like important it is that he can be himself, and like how proud of them he is, or proud of him they are. And it's just, especially Jennifer Garner's speech, which my friend that I went to go see the movie with said that she cried when she heard that speech, and that makes me really sad, because her speech was just so uninspired and so like cookie cutter, and like these are all the things that like you're supposed to say, and there's no like real emotion behind them. And Jennifer Garner doesn't really care during her performance. And you can just watch a movie like Call Me By Your Name, where the dad in that movie has like the same premise, like a monologue that he gives to his son, and that monologue is so powerful and so full of emotion, And you can tell in Call Me By Your Name, you can tell he's sort of like choosing his words carefully as to not suggest that his son should be worried about what he thinks. And you can tell that in his performance, and you don't get that from these parents, and you don't get that from these characters, and it's just really terrible how we're supposed to care about these parents that don't care about their son, or like they pretend to, you know, be real people, but then like the movie even describes to us that these aren't real attainable goals. This is like the high school quarterback and like the head cheerleader, and they ended up being like super successful professionals outside of that. And it's like, really, you're gonna give me these fake ass people and tell me that they're real? I don't believe you, movie. So I've talked about the sister and the parents, and now I'm gonna talk about the friends. So the friends are the shittiest people I've ever seen, and that really comes through during the scene where like it's after winter break and Simon's, you know, he's come out and he goes to meet up with all his friends, and they're all standing on the corner, and they all just basically say like, we're mad at you. It's not because you're gay, but it's because of like you tried to hide that you were gay, and so now we don't want to be friends with you anymore because you tried to hide that you were gay, and that ended up being inconvenient for us, so we're mad at you now. What shallow fucking people do you have to be so self-centered and so not self-aware that this is a kid who's fucking terrified of his life, and you're gonna stop being friends with him because the way that he tried to hide it is inconvenient for you? Sure, he was stuck in a terrible situation, and he probably should have said something if he recognized how close of friends you all were, and then, you know, that's a problem with Simon as a character, like he's a shitty character. But I've been in that situation. I had a close group of friends, and I didn't tell any of them until basically high school was over. And it's not because like I didn't trust them, it was just because I didn't, like the movie, like it explains, I didn't want things to change. I wanted to get through high school before I ended up changing my entire world, because my entire world was gonna change anyway. So it makes sense to not want to tell your friends. So why are these friends so shitty and mad at him because of the choices that he made in this movie? Especially the fucking best friend, Leia, played by the fucking 13 Reasons Why bitch. She was mad at Simon because Simon set her up for heartbreak because she was in love with Simon, but Simon was gay and didn't love her back, I guess. And that is complete bullshit. She set herself up for heartbreak because how self-centered do you have to be to expect that this guy that you're not telling that you like are in love with can just pick up on your clues? Like, that's so shitty. That's such a shitty thing to do as a person, to expect that they pick up on your fucking subtle clues and then get mad at them when they don't and like stop being friends with them because of that. And then the two other friends, Abby and I don't remember the other guy's name, they were mad at him because they wanted to be together. First of all, Abby never showed signs to Simon that she wanted to be with the other guy, but the other guy definitely, like his whole character is, I want to be with Abby. Like that's literally his entire character, which is, you know, can we have real people please? So they were mad at Simon because they ended up being together, even though throughout the movie Simon's trying to keep them apart because of the whole subplot, which I'll get into later. They ended up together anyway. Why the fuck does it matter that it took so long? Like, she just transferred to the school. Can we not care about the inconveniences that Simon puts on your lives in these few months that you could have been together? It's just a few fucking months. Come on, get the fuck over it. The worst part is they are so not emotionally deep as people that they just do get over it. You know, they don't care eventually by the end of the movie that the shit that they cared about like a few weeks ago. Pick something, you know? Stop being friends with him. Make real consequences for this character for doing what he does, if that's what you're gonna do. But don't just like set up the consequences and then take them away. That's so fucking cliche, where like all the characters have to be mad at each other going into the third act, and then the third act solves everything. Like, what the fuck? Can we not do this anymore? Can we please not do this anymore? So the last character I want to talk about is Martin. And Martin was probably my favorite character, honestly. Not because he was like written well or because he had like good intentions or anything, but because he reminded me so much of somebody that I knew in high school. Somebody who did theater with all of us, was incredibly manipulative, was incredibly like into like all the girls, or like one girl in particular, and was just like really creepy in his like methods of trying to like get with her. So I really liked his character just because it reminded me so much of somebody that I already knew. And the fact that they got it like so spot on, because by the end of the movie, they try to redeem his character after the shitty thing that he does. And they end up like being okay with it. Like, he doesn't get to redeem himself because the movie tries to make you believe that he gets to redeem himself. That adds to how manipulative his character is and how manipulative he is to these friends, to where he can just do shitty things and then pretend like that's not what matters right now. But even though that does fucking matter because you're a shitty fucking person.